I'm Sarah Gonzalez. Welcome to the news and why it matters. Still out here in LA, and today we are joined by Michael Knowles and Alicia Krause. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's really nice to have the power couple of the Daily Wire here on with us at the same time.
Except we're not really a couple. This is something that people assume sometimes.
They do, because my wife is named Sweet Little Elisa, and then Alicia is Sweet Little Alicia. It's very confusing.
Although I'm not sweet or little like she is. So.
But Alicia pines from. I'm a married man. I'm sorry. I'm a married man. Okay. It's very believable, right?
You know what?
No.
I see the Kavanaugh things happening right now.
Never going to be on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
All right, Glenn, what's the top story for you?
Top story is Kavanaugh.
Okay, Michael.
Top story is great if you're a masochist or a millennial. Arby's is offering to tattoo their brand logo on you in exchange for nothing. Tells us a lot about millennials.
Oh, awesome. Good times ahead.
In addition to Kavanaugh, I think actually a silent story of the week that everyone should be paying more attention to is the fact that Google is now working with the Chinese Communist regime to start a specific search engine geared toward the Chinese market, I suppose, that allows them to limit searches on free speech and religion and other things as well. So it's definitely very concerning, considering that Google is now reneging on their "they do no evil" kind of policy. That seems a little
They changed
evil to
that
me.
policy last year, and I kind of wondered, why are you changing that? Well, now we know.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Before we get into all of that, want to thank our sponsor, Riduzone. Riduzone, I love Riduzone. This is me about, 12 years ago, the big giant 10. That was me. So I understand the struggles.
I'm the woman next to
of weight loss. Yeah, Glenn's had some transitions since then. I know the struggles of weight loss, so I am speaking to you with personal experience. And Riduzone has really helped me. It controls my cravings. It helps boost metabolism. It's basically the good molecule in olive oil that does all of those things. They've extracted it and put it into the pill form.
And get this, because I've just been chugging olive oil, and look at me.
And so, you know what? You can save 30% on a 3-month supply. Some people are saying, oh, it's still kind of expensive, Sarah. Okay, look, we did the math. It's $1.39 a day. Think about all of the things you spend your money on. You go to Starbucks and you spend way more than that. This is $1.39 a day if you want to get control of your weight. That's amazing. All right, so there's no excuses not to do it. You can go to riduzone.com, get 30% off of a 3-month supply, and you can use promo code TheBlaze to do that. All right, Glenn, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh, this is just getting more and more bizarre. First of all, the woman who came out yesterday and said, I heard rumblings and buzz about that in high school. What kind of fact is that you're adding? Then she comes out and says, by the way, I'm not going to testify. I was empowered by the internet to make those claims yesterday. Empowered.
She also said that she deleted it because it had the effect that she wanted. And once it had the effect that she wanted it to have, she decided to delete it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It is incredibly dangerous, I think.
It's so telling.
When, one, it's telling and incredibly revealing, and two, it's so dangerous to think that we live in a day and age that you can just tweet whatever you want. And then, once it had the effect, I'm just going to let it disappear.
I'm good.
Well, the New York Times has been doing that for decades, though, right? They run a story on page A1, that's the big, Kavanaugh is a super secret Nazi, and then 5 days later they retract on page Z57. Oh, no, he's not. They've been doing, this is just the social media equivalent of that, right? Here's a lie. Oops, I'll delete it later.
Yeah, but we used to come together a little bit more and say we're better than that. We're finding out now we're not better than that. And what's terrifying is you guys know what deep fakes are?
Yeah.
Oh, deep fakes.
The videos and
So just last week, they've hit another milestone, and that is they can now mimic the movements of your body and your tics.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it.
They took 2 videos of people. One was President Obama, and I don't remember who the other one was. And they can make anyone move. They can take film of President Obama and make him move like me and walk like me. So now, gait is a big way to find people, facial recognition, but also gait. So now you can take a video of anybody, and I can give them the right gait as long as they have video. We're getting to a place to where the truth doesn't matter, but our eyes will not be able to tell us what the truth is. And wait until that becomes mainstream. We've been talking about this for about 4 years. And since that, you've been able to start doing the easy deep fakes with pornography. Wait until government gets a hold of this. Wait until Russia gets a hold of this and takes a video of Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or anybody, and they're starting to make progress in the polls. You dump that fake out. You've seen it. It burns into your senses, in your memory. And then it's proven that it wasn't fake, but the damage is done.
That's right.
Just like Kavanaugh, except much more powerful.
It's like that old Marx Brothers line, who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes, your own lion eyes? And that's finally true. We are now at the point where you cannot believe images and even video that's put in front of you. That's a whole new world.
The fascinating thing about Kavanaugh, though, is a Huffington Post poll showed that this morning only 28% of men and 25% of women believe Professor Ford's story. So I think that,
Less women
That's a
believe.
Huffington Post poll.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's fascinating because I think a lot of women, unfortunately, have undergone levels of harassment, not at the extent of Professor Ford with this atrocious assault that she is alleging. I'm of the mindset I think that something horrific probably did happen to her when she was 15 years old, but she's being used as a pawn by the Democratic Party to try to get Kavanaugh and his buddy Mike Judge.
Do you think it was Kavanaugh that did it?
No, I don't. I think that having had an incident happen to me, which was then logged and went to the NYPD in a trial on a New York City subway, I remember every single detail of that incident, even though it's been 14 years.
Right.
And
I have people.
makes
That's
sense.
exactly what I said. I actually wrote about that. It's up on TheBlaze.com right now, but it was, over 2 decades ago, right? I remember, and there were multiple times that this happened to me. I remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly who it was. I remember exactly who was around. I remember all of the circumstances surrounding each and every time. It's boggling to me that it...
The New York Times had a podcast today, and you should listen to it. It's I don't know what they call it, the New Day or whatever it is.
The Daily?
The
Is it
Daily,
the Daily?
yeah, the Daily. And so I listen to it every morning, first thing, just to evacuate, but
Your mind.
yeah, my mind. No, but I listen to it every day just to hear the balance and what that perspective is. And today was a woman who was from California, and I can't remember where she moved back east. I think New York. And she said she was groped at 15. It was a horrible experience, but she detailed the time, the day, the truck, or the car, where it happened, who it was. I'll never forget it. And she was credible because she had every detail. And the New York Times didn't notice that there was a difference there and was trying to compare her to Ford, but there is no comparison to Ford. If this woman would have come in and she had details, that would have been different. Then it would have added a little bit more to the he said, she said nonsense.
Even if it was the details of the house or the party and who else was there,
Right.
I can understand not maybe
The time,
if there's
the
multiple
wallpaper. Seriously,
Yeah.
Anything.
wallpaper. You could lose a lot of things, but I'm really into pivot points in life. And I remember when Mitt Romney said, "Oh, I'm absolutely pro-life." No, you were against life.
Yeah.
And I had him on, and I said to the audience right before he came in, he was away from the studio, and I said, "I'm going to ask him about this. You're going to know immediately, because I'm going to ask him when and where. If he doesn't describe the room, he's lying."
Right. That's such a good point.
Right. And he came in and he said, I remember I was sitting in Harvard, and they brought all of these eggs in, and they were talking about fertilization, and he said, I remember listening to the guy and just watching him talk, and I kind of got a little movie moment of fuzzy, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is life. We're in a different world now. I believed him. She can't tell me anything?
Right.
And I do think, unfortunately, you have the Twitter trolls that have gone after her saying, well, why did she wait 36 years or why did she wait 30 years? I mean, having had friends and family members that have experienced severe sexual trauma, specifically in their adolescence, I kind of understand and get that they would suppress it and keep it quiet and be, especially for women. It's incredibly embarrassing, and you have self-guilt, and there's all these.
Even when you do tell the truth, you still, your reputation is tarnished.
And there's all, which is an unfortunate problem that society still needs to deal with.
Yes.
And so there's all of these issues around, sharing what happened to you and getting to the bottom of it and making sure that the, justice is served. So but it really bothered me. That was the one thing in the story that I think when people on the right were a little too quick to jump the gun and be like, well, it's been 36 years and she kept her mouth shut all this time, so shame on her.
Yeah, well, there were many.
But I think we have to be fair. Imagine, well, you don't even have to imagine. Look at what they said about Juanita Broadway. Mm-hmm. Politics, and there are those people that cloud the mind with politics. It's not getting us anywhere. It's just turning us into monsters. It doesn't matter whose side you're on. The other side, the whole thing could be flipped, and you'd have those same trolls on the other side who are defending him now, would be tearing Merrick Garland apart and tearing her, or defending Merrick Garland and tearing her apart.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to move on, but I feel like this is a good time to just bring up. While we're talking about this, you can get Addicted to Outrage now.
I didn't even know that was out.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning
You're
it.
welcome.
I completely forgot.
I know.
That's nuts.
All right, so eat at Arby's, Michael.
Yes, this story today really struck me. Right now, not far from here, Long Beach, right in California, you can go to a tattoo parlor. This will be paid for all by Arby's and get Arby's logo tattooed on your flesh forever for free. You don't get anything for it. You just get a tattoo of Arby's on your flesh for free. This follows a major campaign in Russia just this month where they said, if anybody is going to tattoo the Domino's logo on their body, we'll give you free pizza for life. This was supposed to run for 2 months. They ended it after 3 days because they would have gone bankrupt. All of these Russians were doing it. And it's not that surprising in a nihilistic culture like Russia that how many suicide games are named after Russia? There's a major one, they're kind of... But this is true of Americans now, too. This is true. I've noticed this with American millennials. Everybody has a tattoo.
Because it has to be Instagrammable.
It has to be Instagrammable. This is why I don't have enough followers. Nearly 40% of millennials have some sort of tattoo. It used to be just convicts and Marines had tattoos. Now it's everybody. I saw a guy once in New York. He had a tattoo, and it said a 4-letter word that begins with S, cray, on his finger. That was
You make fun of people with tattoos.
Let's see it. Let's see.
It's this one.
Which one? What is it? What is the tattoo?
I have.
I can't show you mine, but
I will say while you're doing that, I count in this because I do have a tattoo, but it's not Instagrammable.
Now, what does the tattoo say?
On purpose.
Pro Deo, pro Deo, pro Patria, pro Familia.
Yeah, now that's a good tattoo. A tattoo that says a 4-letter word that begins with S, cray, or an Arby's logo.
An Arby's
that's a
logo,
different kind of tattoo.
I mean, I might do it for the curly fries.
Yeah, for the Jamocha
That's it,
shake.
because
Yeah.
Arby's is
You know one of
subpar.
the number one metric on algorithms figuring out whether or not you are a conservative? Have you eaten at Arby's?
Really?
Really?
They say that almost no liberals eat at Arby's. So in California, they're probably not having a lot of takers.
Really,
That
also
is true.
don't. I think Sonic would be another judge of that too.
It is.
Just not only, and I'm sure a lot of it has to do with geographically the location of.
Well,
I miss me some cheddar peppers. Y'all should have brought us
We
those
should
from
have.
Texas.
We'll know for next time.
the Arby's slogan is "We have the meats," and they have little drawings of animals on their bags. So I see how that attracts conservatives. But I do wonder. There does seem to be. It actually ties in with this brand new book that's just out.
Addicted to Outrage.
Have you heard about this by
Available wherever you buy
Mr. Glenn
Tell me
Book?
more about it.
I think there is this aspect of millennial culture which is so nihilistic that would slap a Domino's right on your arm to get some free pizza. We're robbed of meaning, and so we treat politics like it's religion. We treat every little thing on Twitter like it's a religious devotion. Unlike your tattoo, which is actually about religion, it actually is about meaning. That I don't know how to get that back, and I think the culture is just careening the more and more we head in that direction.
Well, thank you, Glenn Jr., for the doom and gloom. Back in a minute. Got a lot more to get into here at the Daily Wire HQ, but before we do that, want to thank our sponsor, iTarget Pro. I'm
love
still
this.
waiting to try it. Have you guys
love
heard
this.
of this? iTarget Pro.
Who's a shooter? You guys shooters?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he pretends to be, but let's be
I'm a
honest.
very good shot. Thank you very much.
Oh, look at
Okay,
this
you
cute
had
little couple.
I know. There's a couple squabbles.
right.
Okay, you got to tell them what it is.
Okay, so dry firing is the best thing you can do, and I hate dry firing because you're just sitting here and just pulling a trigger. It's just stupid, and I just don't. I like a challenge. But if you're going out to the range, you're spending so much money. This is you put something in. It's a little laser like device. You put it in like a bullet. You cock it. You put a target out. Put your phone by it.
Yeah.
And then the laser tracks it on the target. You can't see it. You're not using a laser to aim. It's just printing on your phone, so you get the target back, and it shows where you
amazing.
shot.
Oh, wow, that's super cool.
So it's
And it's
really
way cheaper than ammo.
And
way
exactly.
And then you don't have to do the waiting period like we do here in California for purchasing said ammo.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, you can just do it in your living room
Yeah.
I don't
while
know
you're
if you
watching
know
TV.
this, but you don't have to wait in Texas.
What is this mythical land you call
don't-
Texas?
Throwing that out
A
there.
place
Hey.
where there is no
Being from-
such thing as an
No.
income tax.
Being from Oklahoma, I don't. No. Sit down. There has to be some Red River rivalry. You just can't flee there.
I want to flee. I want to shoot my gun. I don't want to pay taxes. It sounds great. I want to go to this
great.
mythical land.
All right, well
is
then
great.
you guys listen. You can save 10% right now on iTarget Pro. You can use offer code NEWS. That is iTargetPro.com. Alicia,
Yes.
Google and China. This is absolutely terrifying.
So, as I'm sure most of your audience knows and understands, freedom of speech doesn't really exist there. You know, the stuff that the chat we've been having about criticizing Democratic senators here in the United States this week regarding Kavanaugh does not happen in China.
Yes.
In addition to that, of course, there's been the recent crackdown of Christians there, which is very concerning, and they're going to be starting this very Black Mirror type social grading system. Well, my concern is, and sorry if I'm a little anti deep state conspiracy theorist here for a moment, but join me in Cross Conspiracy Corner, that they're going to be utilizing the technology that they're working on with Google to start monitoring their citizens. And apparently the search engine that they're working to create will, of course, not allow certain things to be searched, certain words to be searched, and everyone will have a user login that is connected directly to their address and phone number, so the communist regime will be able to track down all of these people and what they've been researching.
What could possibly go wrong, though?
This goes with their project called Sharp Eyes,
Yes.
which is a Mao term back at the time. Everybody had to have sharp eyes to watch each other. Now the state is doing it. Now I think it's Beijing, is the first city to complete it, major city to complete it. Pretty sure it's Beijing. There are 3 rings of the city, and there's the outer ring, and that gives you kind of the level of security probably of New York City, of being on camera. The secondary ring is much more, it's like a souped up London. The interior ring, literally, you are on camera all times. In fact, people who are in government, who visit there, are told if you want privacy, it's in the bathroom, in the shower, and you're going to have to turn off the lights because they'll even see you there. They put somebody out into the inner ring, and China did, and then when they turned this thing on, they said, find this person. 12 minutes, and he was in the back of a squad car.
Whoa.
That's a city with millions of people. 12 minutes, he was in the back of a squad car.
Unbelievable. So Google has sold their souls to the devil.
Yeah, and it's kind of disconcerting because, of course, we all remember the tech versus government kind of argument that occurred here after the awful San Bernardino terror attack. And I actually, despite the fact that I wanted to know more information and believed that there was a terror cell involved in that, murderous shooting, understood Apple's perspective of, no, we're not going to unlock this iPhone just so you can see what's inside of it. And so you had bigger companies, and Google, I think, at the time backed them.
Yes.
So you had larger, Bay Area companies saying, we're not going to do this because of, the right to privacy and the Bill of Rights that protects us and our users, et cetera. I know,
What was
right?
that little thing?
and they had attorneys and the ACLU and everyone gung-ho about it. But now, if it helps the bottom line a little bit, we're willing to infringe. Understandably, China does not have the same beautiful constitution that we have. But if it's going to be a policy in one country, I'd like to think that they're also, adhering to that policy in others.
So here's what's really interesting. Google, the people in Google, all up in arms that Google was going to provide cloud space for the U.S. government. They do not want to get into bed with the U.S. government, but they will get in bed with the Chinese government. That is, to me, terrifying.
Yeah.
We are in a race for AGI now. Whoever gets that wins. China is pushing to get that. The companies here in America, really the leader in it is probably Google. I'm just as uncomfortable with Google having that as I am the United States government or the Chinese government.
Right.
I don't trust anybody anymore. And it's not good.
It is a real fear. We always hear about the multinational corporations, from the fringes of the left and the right. This is the danger, though. This is the real danger. When a corporation has no loyalty to its own country, and when it can concentrate that sort of power in its own hands, that is just as great a threat to liberty as it would be if our own government were doing it.
Well, there was a crappy Tom Hanks movie all about that. I guess Google attention.
That is the frustrating thing because, you look at Google, and even if you were to say, you know what, those principles are messed up, I can't believe that they would sell out to China, what are you going to do? Stop using them? I mean, they're so big that you can't
I use Ask
put
Jeeves.
a dent. Ask Jeeves, yeah.
that's
You
the one.
can't
I'm
put
still
a
waiting
dent
for an
in
answer. Where is that Arby's? Where is that Arby's?
Really quickly, so the new spending bill is out, and the bill was approved 93-7 in the Senate. It's going to the House ahead of a September 30th deadline to avoid a government shutdown. And Trump is really upset because there is no money for border security and the wall in this bill. So he tweeted out, I want to know where is the money for border security and the wall in this ridiculous spending bill, and where will it come from after the midterms? Dems are obstructing law enforcement and border security. Republicans must finally get tough. Michael, I thought that Mexico was going to pay for the wall.
I'm waiting for Mexico to start shelling out for the wall. This law by tweet I think this does show the weakness of the public-facing reality TV star president. I think there's a lot of good that comes from that. I really do think it helps shape the culture, helps us cut through the media. LBJ didn't use Twitter. When LBJ was twisting arms in the Senate and in the House, he didn't use Twitter.
And not at 4:43 a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Potty time.
You got to question that, right? Yeah. Exactly. What's your take on that, Alicia?
I kind of agree with Michael there. It won't be hopefully it's the last time it happens. But I think that additionally, Trump needs to own up to promises that he's made that he cannot deliver, and maybe someone is a tad too proud to admit this.
Yes. Trump?
No, wait. But I disagree. This is not Trump's responsibility. Trump was to show the will of the American people and then set the direction. This is Congress.
True,
Congress
but
won't do any of it.
Trump did campaign on saying, I'm going to make Mexico build that wall. I'm going to make Mexico pay for the wall.
If you believed that, you're a dope.
I'm just saying, he said it.
I know.
And I still think there's a part of him that believes it.
Yes.
I do think that there's a part of him that thinks this can be done and the Republicans are keeping me from doing it.
Yes.
I don't think that's
real
true.
quick. Yeah, real quick. We got to take a break. We can talk about it when we come back.
Oh, you think that's true? You think that's...
know we had to cut off that conversation, so I want to make sure to take it into overtime. We're not done yet. Blaze subscribers, make sure you go to On Demand, and you can catch the overtime there. Podcast subscribers and listeners, remember to rate us if you haven't already. Really quickly, Michael, what's your Twitter handle for podcast listeners?
Michael J. Knowles,
Michael J.
just like
Knowles.
Beyonce.
Okay, Alicia.
At Elisha Krause, I have a dude's name. It's Elisha.
That's not a dude's name.
It is a Jewish dude's name.
Does it matter in today's world?
So true.
Gender is fluid.